You guys, for those who say there's a lot of racism that you have to stomach as a black conservative supporting President Trump, what would you say to that?
So the question is, respond to people saying that as a so-called black conservative, there's a lot of racism that you have to stomach, right? So essentially, is there a lot of racism within the conservative movement that they have to kind of close their eyes to? Yes or no? Let's see what the answer is.
Personally, I would say that I've ignored a lot of racism from the left. When Joe Biden said that black people, or excuse me.
So she chooses to talk about the left and Joe Biden. Let's think about this logically for a second. If there wasn't a bunch of racism within the conservative movement, as a conservative who's definitely been attacked a lot, I'm guarantee you she's been attacked a lot for being a black conservative. Wouldn't she proudly let people know that that's actually not true? That's a misconception. There's not a lot of racism. I haven't seen it. What are you talking about? I haven't seen any racism, right? Or maybe she sees some, but it's the exception, not the rule. Well, yeah, I've seen some, but it's very rare. Most people I know, they have no problem with me. Or why would she choose to completely ignore the question and deflect and talk about the left unless she is trying to hide something? And what would she be trying to hide in a question asking her about racism in the conservative movement? Answer that one.
He said poor people are just as bright and talented as white people. That's a racist comment. There's types of racism that seem to go ignored and unnoticed by the left and the right, but it's the racism of low expectations.
This is a classic deceptive bad faith thing. She's asked about the right. She doesn't say anything about the right, but she immediately responds giving a specific example from the left. Then later on she says, from the left and from the right, right? She doesn't give you a specific right-wing angle. No example of racism on the right. But technically she said, from the left and the right. So yes, I acknowledge that the right has racism. Didn't you hear me? I said from the left and the right. But she won't give you an example. Why do you think that is?
That I can't ignore. And so that's why I brought that up first, is because the racism that they want us to overlook is the racism coming from the left.
All right.
She says that's why she brought that up first, as if she was going to actually answer the question eventually, but she didn't. She says the racism that they want us to ignore is the racism from the left. We still don't know whether she sees racism on the right or not, right? There's no value to us knowing about Joe Biden is racist or there's racism on the left. It's not a competition. He didn't ask her which side is more racist. He asked, what about the right? And for some reason, she won't respond to that. Why?
Let's go down the line, sir, Mr. McCullough.
Yes. Well, racism to me is not what someone says, it's what they do. And I think this is what makes us different from the left, because we're not watching, what people.
So this guy chooses to try to define what racism is. Now, think about how stupid of a deflection tactic this is. So the implication is that he has a different definition of racism than other people. Okay, so however you define it, do you see it on the right or not? Why is that such a difficult question to answer? Again, if you don't see it in the right, say you don't see it. If you see it but it's rare, say that. Why are they saying everything else but responding to the question? What does that tell you?
People is saying we're watching what they're doing, because at the end of the day, a leader, a president, a politician, whatever you are, it's based on policy. So if you can show me policy that affects or that you can call racism, then I'll agree. But up to this point, I have yet to see anything that he's put into law that affects black people negatively.
He's never seen a policy that affects black people negatively. So, in my view, what he did, and this explains why, how tribalism works. He was asked a certain question, but he heard something different. Because he identifies with Donald Trump, it's part of his identity. he identifies with this cult, this tribe. You simply saying, people are saying that there's racism within the conservative movement. He is, rather than answering the question, all his brain is hearing is that people are saying that his side is racist. So he's defending, no, they're not racist, right? He's not answering, do you see racism in conservatism or do you not see racism in conservatism? Doesn't want to answer it, right? Oh, it's racism is about actions. Okay, so do you see racist actions or not?
That's why shit.
All right. Mr. Williams, Ultra MAGA. What you got?
Ultra MAGA. Trump has been great for black people. If you look at the statistics, black unemployment was at the highest rates when he was in office. You go down and you look at, he just declassified the MLK files.
We almost have to rewind and play the question again, because you're listening to these answers and it's like, this guy is saying how he feels about Trump in terms of his performance. He was asked whether there is racism within the conservative movement that he has to stomach, being a so-called black conservative. He's not saying that, yes, there is racism, no, there isn't racism, or it's a little bit, or it's a lot. It's the same as on the left. He's basically promoting Trump to us. He was asked one question, he's answering a different question. The question he's answering is, tell me what you like about Donald Trump. That's what he's answering. Nobody asked him that.
Barack Obama didn't do when he was in office.
Of course not.
So I mean, you people are saying he's racist, but he's doing things that presidents that were of color didn't even do.
That's right.
I mean,
Notice he keeps saying that they focus a lot on Donald Trump. They weren't asked about Donald Trump. They're asked about the conservative movement, being a black conservative. And each of them, it's like, oh, they're attacking Trump. Oh, Trump's actually a good guy, and he was a great guy. Nobody asked you anything about Trump, man. These people either are being disingenuous, or they are, I'll steal man and say, let's say that they're not that they're slow, but it's an emotional thing, right? Because of this sort of cult or tribal behavior, they can't think straight. You say something that sounds like it's attacking their tribe, there's this knee-jerk reaction to defend their team. So they're not even really thinking about what's the question and let me try to answer the question. It's just, oh, what are you talking about? Trump's a great guy and Trump da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, not even thinking. It's just totally an emotional response.
One.
hold on, wait, let me finish.
It's only been one. Don't say it.
So again, Trump is the man. I support him hands down because what he's done for black people is
Trump is a man. The question was not about Trump.
It's literally like you can't compare it to anything.
Right.
And before we get to Eugene, let me ask you this question, the crux of that interview, that article. Do you see racism in the conservative movement that you're a part of? Obviously, you've already said you see it everywhere, but do you see it in the organization?
So now this guy did a good job. He's refocusing on what was asked. Now think about this. These are three different people. Every single one of them completely dodged the question. So it's not about agreeing or disagreeing with them, right? Even if you like Trump and you are a conservative yourself, you have to ask yourself, why are these conservatives afraid to answer a question, a simple question, that he has to go and push back again? Are you seeing this in the conservative movement? Everybody's talking, Trump is great, Trump. Nobody asked you nothing about Trump. It's not a Trump question. If Trump didn't exist, the question is still valid, right? Remove Trump from the equation and you can answer the question. Because they're being asked about the movement, not about a man. But apparently all they can think about is this one man. Trump derangement syndrome. This is what it looks like.
Either of you.
Well, here's the thing. How are we defining racism? Once again, I mean, if we're going to define racism and get...
Okay, really, you know what racism is. So
What?
Think about the stupidity, right? And This is the type of stuff you see from Trump supporters all the time, from MAGA people all the time. This level of thinking. Do you see racism within the conservative movement? Well, how do you define race? You're the one being asked the question, right? So you would necessarily answer according to your definition, right? How else would you answer any other question, right? If somebody asks you, do you think the sauna at your gym is hot? And you're like, well, the way I define hot is, we got to think about how we define it. Like, bro, it's subjective, right? We want to know your opinion. Do you think it's hot or not? Right? We don't need to know what your definition is and that is different or whatever. We're asking you for your opinion, right? Do you see racism within the conservative movement? Well, how do you define racism? Like, bro. I mean, again, this is it's like a knee-jerk defensive thing. If he were to say no, right? And then the person responded and said, what do you mean? There's racism definitely in the conservative movement. Then he could respond and say, well, how are you defining that, right? But he wasn't attacked. It's like he's preemptively responding to an attack that wasn't given to him, right? He feels a need to explain his definition of racism. Wow.
Just tell me if you have seen it, if you experienced.
I know what racism is, but I can't speak for everybody else.
Well, let me say.
He said he knows what racism is. Therefore, he would be able to tell whether he's seen racism within the conservative movement or not, right? It's not that he doesn't know what it is. He knows what it is. And apparently he thinks he has a more accurate definition. But for some reason, he won't apply that definition to the conservative movement. So think about what he's doing. He's actively refusing to assess whether there's racism within the conservative movement, almost as if he's afraid what he would find. So one would almost think that he believes there's racism with the conservative movement. He's been closing his eyes to it and kind of pretending it's not there. And now he's being forced to have an uncomfortable thought. He doesn't want to answer this question. Oh, racist. How do we define? Well, I know what racism is, but other people don't. Like, bro.
Say something.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Alexandra.
so when somebody on the left sees me, a black woman, and just assumes I'm poor or ignorant.
All this woman likes to talk about is the left. And this is a common tactic we see with MAGA. And again, if there isn't racism in the conservative movement, think again, we're not having an ideological disagreement, right? If she is comfortable with her side, if the rumors are not true, right? The idea is that liberals are saying that there's lots of racism within the conservative movement. That'll be the idea, right? She's presenting herself. I mean, obviously, if she's in the movement, she's either okay with it or she's not seeing it, right? So if she disagrees with what the liberals are saying, why wouldn't she simply say it? Like, what is stopping?
If they're my ally, I need their hand. I need them to come in and save me. And I don't. I need God. I don't need them. They're not my Messiah or my Savior. So Malcolm X said it best. The liberal is the enemy of the black man. And we can see it right clearly before our eyes. They look at us like we're scum. They look at us like we're poor. And black people are falling for the okie doke. And they're saying, oh, the white man is better than us.
She says that they're falling for the okie doke as she gives us the okie doke. Asked one question and she just ducks it completely and makes the whole conversation about the left this and the left that and the left this and the left that. She won't defend her side. She won't call her side out. She just doesn't want to talk about her side at all. Right? You are out here as a black conservative and you're not casual. Like she's part of some group or something. So you're essentially like a black conservative evangelist, and you refuse to evangelize people about your movement. You only want to attack the other side. Like, is that what your movement really is about? is it really not about conservatism and Trump? Is it more about just hating the left? Is that what this movement is all about? Is that what this is revealing?
Us. He's supreme over us. That's what white supremacy is.
Right.
I don't believe anybody is superior over me. I don't live my life that way. So I just live according to freedom and liberty.
All right, let's hear from Eugene.
Please.
I don't believe these people, man. I've said it before, I said it again. Black conservatives are some of the worst conservatives by far. If you look at right-wing media, you see a lot of dishonesty, a lot of parasites, just really, really disgusting people. And at the bottom of the list are the black conservatives. The most dishonest, most despicable, no values, no morals, right? And here you have more examples of how trash black conservatives are. So trash, they won't even answer basic questions. And the thing is that apparently they have knowledge of how bad they are, right? That's why they're so uncomfortable defending their positions. Refuse to defend their positions. Refuse to talk about their side, right? Their comfortable zone is attacking the left, right? That we can do, right? If I were to interview these people and I asked them nothing but questions about how they feel about the left, I guarantee you they'd probably answer every question right away. Very clear answers. Tell me three big failures of the Democratic Party. Oh, they didn't do da-da-da, and they didn't do da-da-da, and they didn't do da-da-da. Okay. Can you tell me whether you think Joe Biden is racist? Oh, he absolutely is. He did the crime bill. He did the da-da-da. He did the da-da-da. Okay. Do you think that the Democratic Party is a radical party? Oh, yeah. They want to do transhumans. They want to da-da-da. Okay. Have you seen any racism in the Conservative Party? Tell me, what's the definition of racism? You know, you have a definition, and you see how that works? Now you tell me what your opinion of why this behavior is what it is, and why are black conservatives the absolute worst of the conservative movement in this country. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.